Hey, how's it going? This is James P. White from 95.7 Cruise FM, The Locker Room. Welcome to the Jedi Jimmy podcast. This is episode number 34. Andor, episode number 8. The title is Narkina 5. I'll explain what Narkina 5 is in a minute. Now, the episode starts out with Andor actually being sent to a prison called Narkina 5. Now, the transport that he is being sent in has a magnetic security locks, but with the binders that he's wearing, so basically handcuffs, when they activate in the shuttle, it pulls their hands to the arms of the seats, very similar to handcuffs, but magnetic. Now, Deidre actually brings Cyril, who we met in previous episodes. She brought him in to inquire why, with the fact that he's at the Bureau of Standards, why he's sending in false claims using the identity of Cassian to inquire more about him. But actually, Cyril tries to get Deidre to let him help in the investigation to find Cassian because the mishap wasn't his fault. He was actually labeled as being the problem for it, but it wasn't him. Now, Deidre does actually have a name for Luthen, who actually hired Cassian. His name is Axis because he's in the middle of everything. It has been about a month since the attack on Ferrix in episode 3. Now, Narkina 5 is a prison planet, but it's also a secure prison that's run by the Empire, but it's also a manufacturing facility. Now, the prisoners are not given shoes or not allowed to wear shoes on the floor because the floor, if the guards deem it, is electrified, which they proved to Andor at the beginning that it really hurts. And the first test was level 1 out of 3 pain. If you're at level 3, it's death. Now, the blasters that the guards are using are not your standard Imperial blaster like that used of the Stormtrooper or the Clone Troopers, but the blasters that they use are very similar to the type of blaster that the Rebels used in defending the Empire's attack on Princess Leia's ship in A New Hope. That's a long ways ahead here. Now, shite. Okay, Andy Serkis was actually in this episode. He is in charge of the floor that Andor is on, and because Andor has been assigned to unit number 52D on a table. Now, Andy Serkis, if you don't know who he is, he played Gollum in The Lord of the Rings, and also he played Snoke in The Last Jedi. So cool. Now, Mon Mothma is at another dinner party. Who knew? On Coruscant, that all they did was dinner parties with booze. What can go wrong? But she is actually trying to get people in the Senate to vote against the Emperor's increase of punishment caused by the PORD with the Public Order of Resentencing Directive. So basically what Andor was accused of was supposed to be 4 months, is now 4 years. Now, her husband, Perrin, again, total dick. He agrees with the actions of the Emperor dealing with the PORD, and he blames the rebels. If they didn't blow up the base, this wouldn't have happened. Now, one thing that I find really kind of funny on Coruscant is when they're doing a cheers, they always say Sagrana, which is another way of saying cheers. But they're drinking a type of champagne that they call Squigs, which is from Mon Mothma's home planet of Chandrila. Now, Andor in prison, there is a corridor. There is a corridor between each floor and table. So what they do is it's a corridor where they're sent to their workstations. But Taga, a member of the group that Andor met, from his table that is in the factory, he was doing some form of sign language through the windows in these hallways to people on another table or room. I think that's going to be part of how they escape, but just wait. Now, in their personal cells, not only is it a bedroom, it's a bathroom and their eating area. So they have a toilet, but they also have a food distributor, plate, fork, which is cleaned for them daily. And if you aren't in the room by a certain time, you get zapped. It's a hell of a prison. Now there's also talk about the increase of the incarceration in prison, which was actually caused by kind of Andor when they attacked the payroll. But now we jump to Mon Mothma, and we find out a little bit more about her history. One, she was a senator at 16, but with the fact that she grew up on Chandrila, it was arranged marriages. She actually married the douchebag when she was 15. Now we jump a little bit further ahead. So now we're about 30 days into the timeline. So 30 shifts later, Andor is doing a lot better on the production line, and things are actually going good. He's kind of found his groove. But now we jump back to Ferrix, where it's getting hardcore. Now, Ferrix is the planet that Andor grew up on, where his adopted mother, Marva, is. But she is very ill. And Bex explained that what happened is Marva is fighting against the Empire. She wants to be part of the rebellion. She's going beyond what she can do, and she's getting sicker. And she is trying to help the rebellion. Now, Vel is actually, we see her basically waiting on Ferrix for Andor to come back. Because she, as we said in previous episodes, she's been hired to take him out, kill him. Now we jump to the gallery. So if you remember, Luthen has this gallery where there's a lot of these relics. But there's some key things that we see in this gallery that is 6 kinds of awesome. One of which is the framework
for the Gungan shield from Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace. So cool. But then we also see the face mask of a Jedi Temple guard. Now, if you watched Andor, the Grand Inquisitor was actually a Temple guard. And they had this really cool shield. You're going to see, face mask. You're going to see it in a second. Now we jump back to Bix. She was actually trying to contact the rebellion, and they shut down the connection. Now Luthen goes to Segro Minor. Segro Milo. So cool. You're going to find out why in a second. Now, jumping back to where Andor is, one of the prisoners jump on the floor that's electrified, gets totally fried. He's like barbecue. And now there's a lot of jumping in this episode. We're going from planet to planet to planet. We're back on Ferrix. The Imperials are after Bricks, trying to find Andor. But here's where it got 6 kinds of awesome, baby. 6 kinds of awesome. I predicted this in the very beginning of this podcast, was the fact that my buddy, the craziest dude in Star Wars, Saw Gerrera, played by Forrest Whitaker, made an appearance. Now, if you don't know who he is, he was in Rogue One. He was in the Rebels series. He's an extremist rebel. So cool. 6 kinds of cool. Now, Deidre finally catches Bricks. And then Bricks finds out that she's torturing anyone who might possibly know who Cassian is. And I have a feeling that we're going to figure out how they were tortured in the next episode. But shit's getting real. My favorite quotes. Episode 8. Quoted by a quote from Luthen. Oppression breeds rebellion. That was actually this episode. Episode 7, Mon Mothma. I show you a stone in my hand. You missed a knife at your throat. Episode 6, Vel, one path, one choice. We win or everyone dies. Now we go to episode number 5. The axe forgets, but the tree remembers. Previous predictions I've had is in episode 29 of the Jedi Jimmy podcast, I was giving a history of the Andor, and I said Saw Gerrera was going to be in the series. He was in this episode. So cool. Now, episodes 1, 2, and 3 of the Andor series. Mon Mothma was going to be one of the leaders of the Rebel Alliance. I knew that all along, and I was correct. Episode 4. We could possibly see Lando or a younger version of Han Solo or Chewbacca, since this is 5 years after the Solo movie. That hasn't happened yet, but it could still happen. Episode 5. I predicted that the attack on the base was going to happen in the next episode. It didn't happen at that time. But I also said that a Jedi will show up for sure, or hopefully for sure, Galen Merrick from the video games, codenamed Starkiller, because we saw his armor in
the gallery. Episode number 6. I said that Andor goes back to the group. It's not going to happen because Vel is trying to kill him. So he's not going back to the group. And I feel that during this series, the ghost from the Rebels will be involved. But that hasn't happened yet. Could be the escape. Episode number 7, my predictions were Mon Mothma will officially announce the formation of the Rebel Alliance. That may not happen till season 2. Cassian will escape from the prison, as well as he will reprogram one of those Imperial droids, security droids, which will become K2SO. That might be part of his escape. Just wait. Episode number 8, which is this one. I have a feeling that Marva is going to be killed by the Empire, which will provoke Andor escaping prison. And we may find out what they're using to torture the rebels, which is the Borg Gullet, which was used to torture the pilot in Rogue One. Now, this coming Saturday, October 29th, I will actually be doing a special Jedi Jimmy podcast dealing with the shorts. It's called The Tales of the Jedi. So cool. I'm looking forward to that. I look forward to seeing you then. But I do need to thank my sponsors. Huge thanks to Dean Blundell on the Dean Blundell Network on deanblundell.com. And, of course, my buddy Army Chris, Fire for Effect Productions. He helped me do all this stuff. Look forward to seeing you next week. May the Force be with you. Always.